Dealing with some heritage issues associated with the suburb, it almost lost its history. It also should be noted that Freshwater is very unique in the sense that it is very community based. It's known for its sense of community. It's known for standing up against issues that cause concern. Individuals can only take issues so far. And so therefore, a very vibrant, strong community group is extremely useful in handling a lot of these issues. That's what we have been involved with over the last decade. The Friends of Freshwater arose out of a protest movement in 2011, a decade ago, where 1,000 people marched down the main street of Freshwater in protest against a particular obnoxious development. And as a result of that, the community were able to overturn the planning approval for that particular development. And then that led us to form the Friends of Freshwater out of that protest movement, and we then started to do a whole range of other things, including set up a community garden, including bush regeneration of surrounding areas, including restoring the heritage of the Soldiers Avenue of Honour, which hadn't been looked after for many, many years. It was founded by a number of individuals, including myself, of course. And then we eventually formed an executive. Then people joined us as financial members. As a result of a group of volunteers, all Friends of Freshwater members, Undercliff Reserve and its previously dilapidated state, we've been able to rescue that headland reserve. And along the way, we've discovered its own waterfall. That was previously not visible because it was covered with weed growth. So as a result of the removal of that weed growth, we've now discovered that Freshwater Beach at its southern end now has a waterfall entering the beach. And that's been quite spectacular for the community to discover that, which they previously didn't know. We've also discovered carvings and other of the reserve that we didn't know about. So that's been a revelation and very, very rewarding for the people working on that.
Hi, I'm Kathy and I'm a volunteer with Friends of Freshwater working down on Undercliff Reserve. Well, it's become an amazing thing actually. I think we've sort of taken ownership of the site, trying to make it look fantastic, but I think the community has as well. My motto is to plant and nurture a garden is to believe in tomorrow, so I'm hoping the community feel the same.
Hi, I'm Denver Bevan. I work with the Friends of Freshwater. The favourite project is probably the exposing of the carving that's on the lower part of the walkway. I used to work for the council called Mick Leslie, and it's his impression of an Aboriginal man's face.
But definitely more space and more light.
I think the new pathway is fantastic. The gardens around the path are really lovely. All the weeds have been pulled out and it's all regenerating.
It looks a lot cleaner and nicer than it used to.
So currently we run a community garden and we grow produce and adopt a sustainability model of doing things in that community garden. We run the Soldiers Avenue of Honour and we participate in what's called the Freshwater Anzac Precinct, designed to look after both living and static war memorials for soldiers who participated in various international conflicts from the freshwater community. We're actively involved with local government in establishing the Beach Reserves Master Plan, and it deals with boardwalks and toilets, children's playgrounds and a whole range of things. We're now getting to the point where we'll have a shared pedestrian and cycleway from Manly Village all the way through to Curl, which is about 8 kilometres of cycleway, which is quite phenomenal. Well, the current team members are drawn from a cross-section of the freshwater community. Some are retired people, working people, executives of organisations. We combine all of that to advance the community and the standard of living of the community.
Hi, I'm Jill Rathall. I joined the Friends of Freshwater soon after we moved into Freshwater in 2018. My career background, I'm a social worker, so I'm really concerned about diverse people being represented, that it's not just one group of people who's being represented. So I love it when we talk about things like affordable housing and making sure that the area is represented by people who could not afford to live in this area otherwise if it wasn't for affordable housing. I think it's important that the little people get recognised, because sometimes political movements, the people who are powerful control things. And I think it's important that local people come out with local issues and that their interests, their ideas their thoughts are represented. And sometimes we find little bits of history that have been that are sort of covered up, and we uncover them, and that's kind of exciting to see that people who were part of the community are honoured and recognised.
My name's Diana Ryle and I'm 75. So my background, I spent 20 years at Apple, and then I founded a company to drive gender equality, especially in workplaces. So as part of that, I've done presentations, but I also developed materials and training programs for women to achieve their own potential. So I spent 20 years in IT, and so quite a bit of what I'm intrigued by is how we can use IT to get more messages out, Facebook, the website, the newsletter, and also how we can get more members so that more people in Freshwater understand what a special place this is to live. So when I joined, I found that their focus on membership wasn't perhaps as strong as it could have been, and the website also was ready for a refresh to get up to date. So by putting in systems for membership and really asking for those things, and also I've done some pamphlet drops and generally got more involved with the community. When I meet someone, I say, have you thought of joining Friends of Freshwater? You'll get all the information of what's going on. I think really helping them to broaden the communication they do. A year or so ago, we didn't use our Facebook page terribly much. Now we try to post at least once a week to keep the local community up to date. It might be on the trees, it might be on the beach, or the development of the new artwork that's coming, but just trying to keep information out there so that the people who live in Freshwater really get to know what's going on.
My name is Kent Bull, and I've been a member of the Friends of Freshwater for close to 10 years now. I guess what drew me to the Friends of Freshwater was it's not just a resident action group, one that's actively involved in the community. So the sorts of things I do for the Friends of Freshwater more recently is really focusing on the urban planning and development side of the work that happens out there. And so when there are big mixed-use developments, big shop-top developments, controversial developments. They're the sorts of things that I provide some advice on. I come from a background in town planning. I do some consultancy work in my own time, as well as work for a not-for-profit development company as well. So the favourite project for me, for the Friends of Freshwater, would have been probably the Soldiers Avenue of Honour, right up until the centenary of when Soldiers Avenue was established back in 1919. So the centenary of that was in 2019. We saw a lot of funding come through from the federal, state and local governments. Had to really rally hard for that funding. And there was a lot of volunteer hours that were put in. Yeah, basically connect descendants of fallen soldiers, fallen local soldiers. We put in bronze plaques into the footpath. We advocated for footpathing to be put in. We advocated for the undergrounding of high voltage cabling, for new trees to be planted, for statues and busts to be basically commissioned, as well as really partnering closely with the RSL group as well. And that was something that was really rewarding to see families involved with that. The Friends of Freshwater basically emerged back in 2010, and there was a huge multi-story, multi-use development that was occurring just down on Lawrence Street and the corner of Albert Street. Over 91 apartments, 22 shops, $53 odd million development. It was way out of character for the area, and Council was in the position to approve this application. It was a development application that was put forward, and yet it had about close to 2,000 objections that were lodged against this proposal. There was hundreds of people that were involved in a protest going down the street. That really saw the emergence of the Friends of Freshwater. That application ended up being refused through the Land and Environment Court, and it was a real showing by the Friends of Freshwater to say, look, we need to be heard, community need to be heard, residents need to be heard. And look, housing is important, we understand that, but it needs to be done in a sustainable way. That was a great example of how the community could come together, and we really began to get our voice out there with council, and so they actually engaged us to be involved in the development control plan to help build a master plan for the area, and we've subsequently seen some developments which are much more in keeping with the area, no more than 3 or 4 stories at maximum. So the Friends of Freshwater, we've also been involved at looking at the built heritage in our area as well, and so there's over time with a lot of new developments been the demolition of a lot of houses and buildings which have been around for close to 100 years, and we are looking at doing an audit down the track to make sure that we can protect our heritage as well. And so we're looking to propose some buildings that are of heritage significance to council, as well as working alongside council there to make sure that we don't see the demolition of our heritage, that they can be preserved, and where they need to be developed, they're incorporated as part of any new development as well.
We're very much engaged with the social media. If anyone looks us up, they simply can see what we're doing. Our financial membership is in the order of 400. We have our own website. We have our own Facebook site. Now has in the order of 2,000 participants and growing. We also put out a monthly newsletter. We then put out to 650 people. And then we also have a website which is very active.
It's very easy to join. You can just go up on the website and ask to join. It's $20 per year. And that money is just used for insurance and registration. We're not trying to earn lots of money, but we know that the more people who are financial, the more strength we have when we go to either the local council or to the state government seeking improvements for freshwater. So the more people that are a part of it, the more people who are financial members, the stronger we can make the voice from Freshwater.
If you live in Freshwater, this is a community group that represents your interests and wants to preserve the whole culture, history, what's important, the environment, every aspect of the freshwater community.
So the Friends of Freshwater, really the only reason why we can operate is through the help and support of local residents in the community. This is a group that's really dedicated to its local community. It's one that is focused around really being good stewards for freshwater. It's about rehabilitating bushland. It's about protecting our natural environment. It's about having sensible, sustainable developments for future generations. And it's also about remembering our past as well. I think that's really the defining characteristic of the Friends of Freshwater. It's one that is out there serving its local community. It's run by volunteers. It's not for profit. It's not aligned with any political organisation or anything like that. So it's quite a rare and unique organisation in that regard, and I think it's a huge asset for Freshwater.
I think it's really important that communities do have a connection point, and I think neighbourhoods need to come together. Obviously COVID has taught us the importance of knowing your neighbour and looking after your neighbour.
The organisation has been very, very rewarding in terms for almost everyone who's been involved with it. We've been able to take on board a range of activities that have been very beneficial to the community, and to see that occurring from my standpoint, very satisfying as an organisation in terms of what we've achieved.